Hi everyone. Thank you so much for taking some time today to learn a little bit more about Jobs for Michigan's graduates and the upcoming 9th Annual Career Development Conference. Again, my name is Kara Purcell, and I'm just going to take a little bit of your time to ensure that you are well versed in the upcoming event and Jobs for Michigan's graduates programming. So I would just like to start off by saying thank you very much for volunteering your time to make the 9th Annual Career Development Conference a success. We could not do this event without our volunteers. We understand that you are very busy and have, I'm sure, very busy schedules, and this event is just a great experience and opportunity for our students as well as for our specialists, our teachers. So thank you so much for taking the time and coming to ensure that our day is a success. So just a little bit about what Jobs for Michigan's Graduates is. Jobs for Michigan's Graduates, or JMG, is a program of youth solutions, which is a statewide nonprofit that serves youth. Jobs for Michigan's Graduates is a proven solution to Michigan's graduation and youth unemployment challenges. We operate in more than 40 urban and rural cities across the state, where there are programs that deliver dropout prevention, dropout recovery, and school to career transition services. So this year, in the 2017-2018 school year, we're serving over 2,800 youth in those various programs. So those could be in traditional schools or in centers where students who have dropped out of school are working toward earning their GED or diploma, or in a more alternative school setting. JMG partners with Michigan Works agencies, school districts, nonprofit organizations, and employers to deliver programming. So you would be some of our employer partners, and employers are a huge piece of what we do. And additionally, JMG is accredited by National Jobs for America's Graduates, or JAG program. So JAG is a over 30-year-old program that has proven success for the 30 years that it's been around. They operate in over 35 states across the country and just have incredible results with the type of population that we're working with in terms of students who are at risk of dropping out of high school or who already have dropped out. So a little bit about our vision and mission. Our vision is that every young adult is educated, employed, and career-bound. And our mission is to equip young adults with the skills to overcome barriers and win in education, employment, and as citizens. So a quick snapshot about our youth. As I mentioned before, we're serving over 2,800 youth across the state this year. Last year, this is the snapshot of our previous year's class. They had an average age of 17, 6.7 average barriers per student upon entering the program. So these barriers could range from something such as an academic challenge, a learning disability, economic barriers, something that's going on in the home, all the way to something like the student had been incarcerated previously or is parenting. So our specialists work with students to either overcome those barriers or find ways of coping with them. 75% of our students are economically disadvantaged, and 53% are potential first-generation college students. This map shows our statewide impact. We are continuously growing every week, every month, it seems like. So a great program to be a part of as we are continuously growing, serving more students, developing more programming. We have a large population of programming in the Detroit area, as well as Lansing, all the way up to Escanaba, down to Benton Harbor. So there's programming pretty much in every corner of Michigan, and we're continuing to fill in the areas where we are not serving, as there are many people in those areas who are calling for a program. Students all across Michigan have Jobs for Michigan's Graduates in their schools or Michigan Works agencies. Our program does have some pretty fantastic results. This is primarily due to the fantastic work that our specialists or teachers work with our students. So really the main primary goal of a specialist is to be the go-to person for our students, coach them on employability skills, help them overcome academic barriers, and ensure that they're getting that academic credential, so whether that's graduating from high school and then moving on to employment or further education after that. So essentially, they're just that one go-to person that student might need, and that very kind of simple concept has some pretty incredible results. As you can see, for our dropout prevention program, so that's our alternative and multi-year program. So multi-year means traditional high schools. We had a close to 98% graduation rate for the class of 2016. For dropout recovery, these are students who had already dropped out of high school but were working toward earning their GED or diploma. And then after that, what did the student do once they had earned that credential? As you can see, we had very high rates of employment, further education, and then positive outcomes as a combination of the two, and or the military as well. Kenneth M. Smith, the president and CEO of JAG, Jobs for America's Graduates, has recognized that JMG is one of their most consistently successful and rapidly growing organizations. So much national attention has been brought to our organization as well. So that brings us to the actual CDC or Career Development Conference that you will be volunteering for this year. This is an annual culmination event where our students from across the state come together to showcase the skills they have learned throughout the year in their JMG programs. So it's really employability skills competitions that they will be participating in, which you will be judging. That is primarily what will be happening throughout the day. So at a glance, this year is our biggest event ever, as I mentioned, we've continuously grown in our impact across the state. We have over 270 youth coming. Along with that, there's 75 employer volunteers attending, which are you all. Over 50 specialists and managers, so those are our teachers and managers attending. 15 or more VIP guests, so those are the people who will be receiving recognition awards for us, our board members, some legislators, and so on, and then up to 42 different awards that will be won by our groups of students competing in the events. So a quick overview of what your day will look like. Between 9 and 9:30 is when you can arrive and enjoy breakfast provided by us in the governor's room, which I will show you all where this is located in a moment. At 9:30, there will be a quick briefing by one of our staff members in the governor's room that will just kind of, again, go over the details of the day and let you know where you need to be. At 9:45, you'll transition to session 1 events. And then at around 10 or 10:05 is when the students will arrive and session 1 competitive events will begin. Then there will be a transition. Session 2 competitive events will begin. At noon, lunch will be served. At 12:30, there will be the welcome and annual awards, as well as so you'll hear some students speak who will be accepting awards, which is really exciting. At 1 o'clock, we'll have a guest speaker whose name is April Hernandez Castillo. Then there are the event awards, so the actual students who win the competitive events, and then at 2:30 is the dismissal. I've received a few questions from volunteers regarding the day. If you are unable to stay through 2:30, that's absolutely understandable. The main commitment time that we would really need you there for is from about 9:30 until noon. So during that competitive event session time is when you'll be actively judging and working with the students. We would love to provide you with lunch to thank you for your time, but if you need to leave, then that's understandable. I just ask that you let me know so that we aren't counting you in the lunch count. So there's several options for parking at the Lansing Center. These are all available on the Lansing Center website, but the first one would be located within the Lansing Center parking. So this is probably the best option since it's only $7 for the full day. payable with cash or credit card. There's also the option at the Radisson across the street, which would be up to $10 for the full day, and you would walk through the ramp located on the 3rd floor. Also payable with cash or credit card. And then there's another option, which would be up to $12 a day, payable with credit card down on Grand Avenue. So some locations for the day. If you've never been to the Lansing Center, where you arrive will depend on where you park. When you enter, it might be slightly confusing because we will have the student registration set up in the main concourse. However, volunteer registration will be at the top of the second flight of stairs, on the second floor at the top of the flight of stairs. So all volunteer registration, breakfast, and briefing will be held upstairs. So, once you arrive, please make your way to the second floor. There will be registration there for you. You'll receive name tags, a packet, information, and then you can make your way to where the governor's room is, where there is breakfast and the briefing will take place. There are no activities for the JMG CDC in the large exhibit halls on the 1st floor. Our main welcome, lunch, and awards take place in ballrooms 1 through 6, which are one large room for the day. That's on the 1st floor as well. Competitive event rooms 7 and 8. So competitive event rooms are where, sorry about that. The competitive event rooms are where you will be going to actually judge the events. So those would be in rooms 101 through 104 on the 1st floor, 201 through 205 on the 2nd floor, and then rooms 7 and 8 on the 1st floor as well. So I will actually be sending you information about the exact event you'll be judging and where you would be going for that. That will also be included in your packet. So there is, those are the main rooms that you would need to be aware of for the day. So as I mentioned, once you arrive, you'll want to go to the top of the stairs on the 2nd floor where you'll receive a packet of information, but that will also be emailed to you. But you will also need to register and sign in, receive a name tag, and then you will make your way to the governor's room where there will be breakfast provided. At 9:30 is really the hard start time, so that's when the briefing will begin. And then you'll make your way to your competitive event rooms to be ready for the students. You will need to complete a volunteer media form prior to or upon arrival. So that will be emailed to you, but if you forget it, we will have hard copies for you to fill out as well. So no worries about printing that off, and if you forget it, we will absolutely have copies for you that day. So the main thing that you are doing throughout the day is judging competitive events. I'm not going to go into detail about the actual events right now because they're all kind of different depending on which ones you've been assigned to, but they would be something like interviewing skills where you're mock interviewing a student, or judging public speaking, or you might be judging a team of students who are doing a team building activity. Some things to keep in mind is that the students who are participating in these events range drastically in their reading level. So some of our students, especially those who have dropped out of school, are going to range from well below 5th grade reading level, whereas we have some JMG All-Stars who may be well above 12th grade reading level. In addition to that, one note I forgot is their age ranges are going to vary quite drastically as well, in that our out-of-school youth can, their ages may go all the way up to 24. And our our in-school youth could be as young as 15. So there is quite a gap in terms of their ages as well. So as I mentioned, each event has different requirements. So if you could just review your assigned event details, which will be included in your email and packet as well. You are responsible for reviewing these events and for fully completing the score sheets during the event. But you may receive your event packet, you may be a little bit confused. The good news is that each event will have 1 to 2, possibly 3 people who will be actually facilitating it. So that is not what your responsibility is. There will be someone facilitating the event. They'll be able to answer questions regarding how the event should be run. If you aren't sure how to fully judge what's happening, they can answer questions about that. They'll be wearing blue t-shirts. They're adults, so you can ask them any questions that you may have. So you are by no means the go-to expert for the day in your event. You're simply there to act as a judge on which team or individual how you think they are performing. We do ask that you dress in business, casual, or professional attire, as this is kind of an opportunity for our students to see professionals in action and for them to interact with employers in a real-world setting. One last piece on the competitive events is that when you do receive your scoring sheet, we do ask that you fill it out as completely as possible. So, and also one note from last year, do not be afraid to be a little bit harsh on the students. By no means would we like you to, obviously you will use your best judgment, but it's hard when we receive multiple 100-point scores for certain events, because we do have to recognize a first, second, and third place winner for each event. So I should have started by saying that. At the end of the day, when there's the award ceremony, there's a first, second, and third place. And if we receive multiple 100-point scores, that's difficult because when we're scoring, we were not in the events to determine who should actually win. So please be sure to really use some critical eyes, and don't just give students a full score because they're trying their best. Score them based on what the score sheet is actually asking. And feel free to give students critical feedback, softly. Use the sandwich method of positive criticism, positive. But the score sheet is really to be filled out completely. And you may add comments as well, which could help if there was ever an event of a tie. So at noon is when lunch will be served. There will be a plated lunch served this year. So if you came last year, it will be a nice improvement. It's not a boxed lunch. So you can sit with the people who are coming from your area. So this is an opportunity for you to meet students and staff from your area. If you do need a gluten-free or vegetarian meal, please let me know. First of all, please send me an email. And if you, when you register at the top of the stairs on your way into the governor's room, please ask the registration table for a meal card. So let them know if you need a gluten-free or vegetarian meal card. Otherwise, the server will not know that you need one of those. It's going to be served kind of like a wedding, plated where everyone's seated. So, and everyone will be receiving a chicken dish. So the only other option that we would have would be just a traditional gluten-free or vegetarian option. So once you enter the main ballroom, please look for the students and schools from your area. There will be table tents to identify those. We've notified our specialists and students to welcome you to sit with them. It's a great opportunity for you to learn more about the program, to interact with the students in a more relaxed setting, and for them to interact with employers, again, in a real-world scenario. So that's all the information I have for you for today. Thanks again for taking some time to learn about the event and learn about the program. There will be plenty of time for you to ask questions the day of, but if you have any, please do not hesitate to send an email along to me. One thing you can do in the meantime is learn more about our program by reviewing the brochure I've attached to this email, visiting our website, which is ouryouthsolutions.com, visiting us, following us on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sorry, that's actually ouryouthsolutions.org. I should have fixed that. I apologize. ouryouthsolutions.org. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and those handles are below. So Please go there and you can find some great pictures from last year's Career Development Conference and see the different things that our youth are doing across the state. And so once again, thank you so much for taking your time to volunteer and make this a success. We really appreciate the time that you are committing to our students, and we really look forward to seeing you at the 9th Annual Career Development Conference.